The message that changed everything. The quantum alert systems across Earth's defense network screamed in unison at exactly 14:32 Universal Standard Time. From the lunar observation posts to the deep space monitoring stations beyond Pluto's orbit, every sensor array detected the same impossible sight. 300 alien warships had appeared at the edge of the solar system, their massive hulls gleaming like silver daggers against the star-field. Captain Elena Vasquez was welding a heat exchanger in the engineering bay of Titan Station when the emergency klaxons began their urgent wail. She pulled off her helmet, dark hair sticking to her forehead with sweat, and listened to the announcement that would change everything. The voice of Station Commander Brooks crackled through the awe. Speakers with barely controlled panic. All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill. We have confirmed alien contact. Multiple hostile vessels detected at system perimeter. Elena set down her plasma torch with steady hands. At 34, she had spent the last 12 years working on humanity's most remote outposts, fixing everything from life support systems to quantum communicators. She had learned that panic solved nothing, while quiet competence could fix almost anything. The other engineers around her were already rushing toward the command center, but Elena took a moment to properly secure her. Equipment. If they were all about to die, at least her tools would be ready for whoever came next. The command center buzzed with frantic activity. Holographic displays showed the alien fleet in perfect formation, their ships larger than anything humanity had ever built. Elena recognized the design from the classified briefings all military personnel had received. These were Galactic Alliance vessels, the governing body that had been watching humanity from a distance for the past century. "Ma'am, incoming transmission," reported Lieutenant Hayes, his voice cracking slightly. "It's directed at all Earth." Governments simultaneously. Commander Brooks nodded grimly. "Put it through." The holographic display shifted, and suddenly they were looking at an alien face. Admiral Thoric of the Galactic Alliance was an imposing figure, even through the quantum relay. His scaled features bore the distinctive ridged forehead of the Kelter species, and his forearms moved with precise military bearing as he spoke. "People of Earth," his voice carried the weight of absolute authority, translated into perfect English by advanced linguistics programs. "I am Admiral Thoric, Supreme Commander of the Alliance First Fleet. Your species has violated the forbiddance. Development protocols. Our intelligence confirms you have been secretly researching quantum manipulation weapons, technology banned by galactic law for over 1,000 years. Elena frowned. She had worked on dozens of classified projects, but quantum weapons weren't among them. Earth's military had been focused on defensive systems and improved space travel, not weapons of mass destruction. Admiral Thoric continued, his golden eyes fixed on the camera with unwavering intensity. The Galactic Alliance hereby issues an ultimatum to all Earth governments. You have 72 standard hours to surrender all research materials, facility locations, and personnel involved in this illegal weapons program. If you comply, your species will be allowed to continue under Alliance supervision. If you refuse, we will consider Earth a hostile world and act accordingly. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Elena watched. As Commander Brooks slumped into his chair, the weight of potential extinction settling on his shoulders like lead. "Sir," Lieutenant Hayes spoke quietly, "Earth Command is requesting all station commanders to prepare defensive positions and await further orders." Brooks laughed bitterly. "Defensive positions? Did you see those ships, Hayes? Each one could crack a moon in half. We're not defending anything. We're just making sure we die with dignity." Elena cleared her throat. "Commander, permission to speak?" Brooks looked at her with tired eyes. "Go ahead, Captain. Can't make things worse." "Sir, They mentioned quantum manipulation weapons. I've worked on 17 different classified projects in the last 5 years, including the deep space research stations. We're not developing weapons. Dr. Chun's team has been working on quantum-assisted terraforming technology. The energy. Signatures might look similar to weapons research if you don't know what you're looking at. Are you saying this is all a misunderstanding? Brooks asked. I'm saying we need to talk to them, not shoot at them. Someone in the Alliance has the wrong information. 24 hours later, the impossible happened. Instead of mobilizing Earth's combined fleets or preparing planetary defenses, the United Earth Council made a decision that shocked the galaxy. It would send a single representative to meet with the Alliance fleet. Elena stood in the docking bay of Luna Station, staring at the small transport ship that would carry her into the unknown. The Pioneer's Edge was barely larger than a shuttlecraft, with minimal weapons and diplomatic immunity markers painted on its hull. She had volunteered for this mission, though she wasn't entirely sure why. You don't have to do this, said Dr. Chun, the elderly scientist whose research had started this crisis. His weathered face showed genuine concern. They could vaporize you the moment you approached their ships. Elena shouldered her equipment pack, filled with technical specifications and research data that she hoped would prove Earth's innocence. Someone has to try, Doc. Besides, I've spent my whole career fixing broken things. Maybe I can fix this too. The journey to the Alliance fleet took 18 hours. Elena spent most of it reviewing the technical data and trying to understand how terraforming research could be mistaken for weapons development. The answer was troubling. Quantum field manipulation could theoretically be weaponized, but Dr. Chun's team had been focused on using it to accelerate planetary atmosphere development and soil enhancement for new colonies. As the Pioneer's Edge approached the Alliance flagship, Elena felt a familiar calm settle over her. This was just another problem to solve, albeit one with galactic consequences. The massive alien ship loomed ahead like a metal mountain, its surface bristling with weapon arrays and sensor clusters. Docking bay doors opened like a mouth preparing to swallow her whole. The artificial gravity kicked in as soon as she stepped off the transport, and Elena found herself face to face with a squad of Alliance security troops. They were a mix of species, all armed and armored, their weapons trained on her with professional precision. The squad leader, a tall reptilian being with copper-colored scales, stepped forward. Human Elena Vasquez, the universal translator, converted his words into crisp English. You will surrender all equipment and submit to security screening. Elena raised her hands slowly, showing she carried no weapons. I'm here under diplomatic immunity, as confirmed by your Admiral Thoric. I carry technical data that proves Earth's innocence of the charges against us. You carry potential intelligence that could compromise Alliance security, the squad leader replied. You will be searched and detained until the Admiral decides your fate. As the security troops moved forward, Elena remained perfectly still. She had expected this reaction. The Alliance had spent a century watching humanity from a distance, seeing them as a potentially dangerous species from a death world. Everything humans did was viewed through the lens of suspicion and fear. I understand your caution, Elena said calmly. But I came here alone, in an unarmed ship, carrying information that could prevent a war. If Earth wanted to fight, we wouldn't have sent one engineer to talk. The squad leader paused, his scaled features showing uncertainty. One engineer? Captain Elena Vasquez, Earth Remote Operations Division. I fix things for a living. Right now, I'm hoping to fix the biggest misunderstanding in galactic history. The security screening took 2 hours. Elena's equipment was examined by Alliance technicians who clearly had no idea what they were looking at. Her personal tablet, filled with engineering schematics and technical manuals, was treated like a potential doomsday device. Her plasma torch, used for welding repairs in space, was studied as if it might be a hidden weapon. Finally, she was escorted through the massive corridors of the Alliance flagship. The ship was a marvel of advanced technology, with smooth organic curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in metal. Crew members from dozens of different species worked at stations that hummed with barely contained energy. Elena's engineering mind cataloged every detail, noting the elegant solutions to problems that Earth scientists were still struggling with. The escort led her to a massive chamber at the heart of the ship, the Alliance High Command Council. Chamber was designed to intimidate, with soaring ceilings and holographic displays showing star maps of their vast territory. At the center sat Admiral Thoric, flanked by representatives from 6 different Alliance species. "So," Admiral Thoric's voice echoed in the chamber, "Earth sends one small human to answer for crimes against galactic law. Is this surrender or mockery?" Elena stepped forward, her boots clicking on the polished floor. She felt the weight of billions of lives resting on her next words. Around her, the most powerful beings in the galaxy waited for her response, their alien features showing. Mixtures of curiosity, suspicion, and barely contained hostility. Asterisk. "Neither, Admiral," Elena replied, her voice steady and clear. "I'm here to show you that everything you think you know about Earth is wrong. And if you'll give me 5 minutes, I can prove it." The silence that followed seemed to stretch for eternity. Alina stood alone in the center of the vast chamber, one human facing the representatives of an alliance that spanned half the galaxy. In her equipment pack was data that could save or doom her species. In her mind was the quiet confidence that came from years of solving impossible problems with patience, intelligence, and careful observation. Admiral Thoric leaned forward in his chair, his forearms folding with deliberate precision, his golden eyes fixed on Elena with the intensity of a predator evaluating prey. 5 minutes, human, but understand that your words will determine whether your species lives or dies. Choose them very carefully. Asterisk, one person. One answer. Elena opened her equipment pack with steady hands, ignoring the dozen weapons trained on her from the security positions around the chamber. She pulled out a small holographic projector, no larger than her palm, and set it on the polished floor between herself and the Alliance High Command. "Admiral Thoric, honored members of the Alliance Council," Elena began, her voice carrying the calm authority of someone who had briefed corporate executives and military commanders across human space. 3 days ago, you detected quantum field fluctuations from the Kepler Station Research Facility. Your intelligence networks concluded we were developing weapons. You were half right. She activated the projector, and suddenly the chamber filled with a 3-dimensional representation of a barren planet. The hologram rotated slowly, showing a world of red dust and poisonous atmosphere. "This is Kepler 442b, 67 Light. Years from Earth. Potentially habitable, but it would take 300 years of traditional terraforming to support human life." Elena gestured, and the hologram shifted, showing complex quantum field equations floating around the planet. Dr. Chun's team discovered that quantum field manipulation could accelerate atmospheric processing by a factor of 50. Instead of centuries, we could make worlds livable in just a few years. Counselor Vex, a graceful being with crystalline features from the Prism Collective, leaned forward with obvious interest. Quantum manipulation on a planetary scale would require enormous energy outputs. The same technology could theoretically destabilize stellar cores. "Exactly," Elena nodded, "which is why your sensors flagged it as weapons research. But look at the field harmonics." She manipulated the display, showing wave patterns and energy distributions. "We're not creating destructive interference. We're building constructive harmony between quantum fields and atmospheric molecules." Admiral Thoric's expression hadn't changed, but Elena noticed that his secondary arms had relaxed slightly. Even if your intentions are peaceful, human, the technology itself is dangerous. The Kethra incident 500 years ago was caused by uncontrolled quantum cascade failure. Elena interrupted gently. I've studied the historical records. The Kethra tried to use quantum manipulation for faster-than-light communication without proper field dampeners. Our system has 17 different safety protocols to prevent cascade reactions. She changed the holographic display again, this time showing detailed schematics of the quantum containment systems. Every field generator has an automatic shutdown sequence. If any parameter exceeds safe limits, the entire array powers down within milliseconds. It's impossible to weaponize because the safety systems won't allow the energy levels needed for destructive applications. Counselor Vex stood and walked closer to the hologram, her crystalline form refracting the light into rainbow patterns. These containment fields, they're based on harmonic resonance theory. We abandoned that approach centuries ago as too unstable. Because you didn't have the one thing that makes it work. Elena smiled slightly. Human stubbornness. We spent 12 years trying to make harmonic resonance stable, failing over and over again. Any sensible species would have given up. We just kept trying different approaches until something worked. At that moment, the chamber's lights flickered and an alarm tone sounded. Admiral Thoric touched a control panel built into his chair, and a holographic display appeared showing critical system warnings. Engineering reports a cascade failure in the primary power distribution network, announced a voice through the chamber's communication system. We're losing power to life support and defensive systems. Estimated time to critical failure, 47 minutes. The Alliance Council members began speaking rapidly in their native languages, the universal translators struggling to keep up with overlapping conversations. Elena stepped forward. Admiral, I know you have no reason to trust me, but I've been fixing power distribution problems for 15 years. May I look at your system diagnostics? Admiral Thoric stared at her for a long moment. Around him, his officers were reporting increasingly urgent status updates. Finally, he gestured to one of his technicians. Show her the diagnostic data. We have little to lose at this point. Elena studied the holographic readouts, her engineering mind automatically analyzing the cascade of system failures. The Alliance used a completely different technology base than human ships, but the fundamental principles were the same. Energy had to flow from sources to destinations through distribution networks, and somewhere in that network, something had gone wrong. There, she pointed to a specific data stream. Your backup power couplings are trying to compensate for the primary system failure, but they're operating at different harmonic frequencies. They're fighting each other instead of working together. Impossible, protested the Alliance chief engineer, a six-limbed being whose species Elena didn't recognize. The frequency synchronization is automatic. It cannot fail. It can if someone deliberately introduced a harmonic disruptor into the system. Elena replied, studying the energy patterns more carefully. This isn't a random failure. Someone sabotaged your ship. The chamber fell silent, except for the increasingly urgent alarm tones. Elena continued analyzing the data, her fingers dancing over the holographic controls with practiced efficiency. Finally, she found what she was looking for. Commander Zaith, she said, reading the access logs. He modified the power coupling. Frequencies 3 hours ago, just before my arrival. Admiral, someone on your own crew is trying to make this diplomatic meeting fail. Admiral Thoric's forearms moved with deadly precision as he activated multiple control panels simultaneously. Security, locate Commander Zaith immediately. Lock down all critical systems. He looked at Elena with new respect. Human, can you fix what he damaged? Not from here, Elena replied. I'd need direct access to the power coupling junction. But Admiral, even if I fix this, you still have a bigger problem. Someone in your organization wants this war to happen badly enough to sabotage your flagship. 20 minutes later, Elena found herself crawling through the Alliance ship's maintenance conduits. Her engineering toolkit spread around her as she worked to repair the sabotaged power couplings. The Alliance chief engineer, whose name was apparently Tecton, worked beside her with obvious reluctance. Asterisk. Your human tools are primitive, Tecton grumbled, as Elena used her plasma torch to fuse a damaged connection. How do you accomplish anything with such crude equipment? Same way we solved the harmonic resonance problem, Elena replied, sweat dripping as she worked in the cramped space. We keep trying until something works. Sometimes the best solution is the simple one. She finished the repair and activated her diagnostic scanner. Try it now. The lights stabilized and the alarm tones ceased. Throughout the ship, normal power levels resumed. Elena allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. Impossible, Tecton muttered, checking his own instruments. You repaired a week's worth of damage in 30 minutes using basic tools. I had the advantage of knowing it was sabotage, Elena replied as they made their way back to the council chamber. Once you know someone broke something on purpose, it's easier to figure out how they did it. When they returned to the High Command chamber, they found Admiral Thoric in heated discussion with his security chief. Commander Zaith had been found in his quarters, attempting to destroy encrypted data files. When questioned, he had revealed a conspiracy that reached into the highest levels of the Alliance military. A rogue faction within our own forces, Admiral Thoric explained to Elena. They believe humanity represents a future threat to Alliance dominance. They falsified intelligence reports about your weapons research and sabotaged this diplomatic meeting to ensure war would be inevitable. Elena nodded grimly, the oldest trick in politics. Create a crisis, then profit from the solution. Counselor Vex approached Elena with something that might have been a smile on her crystalline features. Captain Vasquez, in 30 minutes you have demonstrated human technical skill, analytical thinking, and problem-solving abilities. You have also saved this ship and exposed a conspiracy that could have led to unnecessary war. I just did my job, Elena replied. I fix things. Today, I fixed a power system and a misunderstanding. Admiral Thoric stood and walked to where Elena waited. His forearms moved in, what she recognized as a formal gesture of respect. Human Elena Vasquez, the Alliance owes you a debt. But more importantly, we owe your species an apology. We allowed fear and prejudice to cloud our judgment. Admiral, with respect, you don't owe us anything, Elena said quietly. But maybe we can help each other. Our terraforming technology could benefit Alliance worlds that need atmospheric rehabilitation. And your advanced engineering could help. U.S. solve problems we haven't even discovered yet. The next few hours passed in a blur of diplomatic discussions and technical exchanges. Elena found herself at the center of negotiations between the Alliance High Command and Earth's government, transmitted via quantum communicator. The terraforming research was shared openly, with Alliance scientists immediately recognizing its peaceful applications. Commander Zaith and his co-conspirators were arrested and charged with treason and attempted genocide. Their network of rogue officers was systematically exposed and dismantled. The false intelligence that had triggered the crisis was revealed and corrected. As Elena prepared to return to Earth, Admiral Thoric accompanied her to the docking bay, where the Pioneer's Edge waited. Your species continues to surprise us, Captain, he said in his careful English. We expected threats, demands, or military posturing. Instead, you sent one engineer with a toolbox and a willingness to help. Elena smiled as she secured her equipment pack. That's humanity for you, Admiral. We don't always know when to quit, but we usually know how to fix things. The Alliance Council will formally invite Earth to join our organization as a full member species. Admiral Thoric continued, "Your technological innovations and problem-solving abilities would benefit all our worlds." "I'll make sure the message gets delivered," Elena replied. "But Admiral, remember that humans are individuals. We don't all think alike, and we don't always agree with each other. That diversity of thought is what makes us good at solving problems, but it also means we can be unpredictable." "Perhaps that is exactly what the Alliance needs," Admiral Thoric suggested. "We have become comfortable with established solutions to familiar problems. Your species sees new possibilities where we see only obstacles." Elena climbed aboard her small transport ship and activated the launch sequence. As the Pioneer's Edge pulled away from the massive Alliance flagship, she looked back at the fleet that had arrived to destroy Earth and was now escorting her home as honored guests. 100 warships had come to deliver an ultimatum. One human engineer had turned them into allies by doing what humans did best, identifying the real problem and fixing it with patience, ingenuity, and the stubborn refusal to give up when things got complicated. The quantum communicator on her console chimed with an incoming message from Earth. Dr. Chun's weathered face appeared on the screen, his expression showing relief and amazement. "Elena, the entire planet is watching the news feeds. Did you really prevent a galactic war by fixing their power system?" Elena settled back in her pilot's chair, watching the stars ahead as the Pioneer's Edge headed home. "I prevented a war. By listening, Doc. The power system was just a bonus. Turns out most problems get smaller when you take time to understand them properly. The President wants to offer you any position in the government you want. Ambassador, Secretary of Defense, whatever you choose." Elena laughed softly. "Thanks, but I already have a job. There are broken things all across human space that need fixing. Besides, something tells me this won't be the last time the galaxy needs an engineer who's too stubborn to know when to quit." As Earth grew larger in the view screen, Elena began composing her mission report. She had been sent to answer the Alliance's ultimatum, and she had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. But more importantly, she had opened a door between humanity and the galaxy that would benefit both sides for generations to come. The crisis was over, but Elena knew that the real work was just beginning. Humans would now take their place among the stars, not as conquerors or warriors, but as the species that could see problems from new angles and find solutions that others had missed. It was exactly what humanity did best, and Elena was proud to be part of it. Asterisk.